Welcome to the Pete the Planner Show. Here's great news. Kristen is back from My Nightmare, a music festival. Kristen, you posted pictures online, the socials, if you will, of you gallivanting around muddy fields with friends.
Indeed.
Okay, so hi, Dame.
Hi, Pete.
Good morning, Jason and Nicholas, and what do we got there, Jenny? All right, Kristen.
Yes.
Did you sleep outside of this music festival?
No. We only live a few minutes from the venue where it was held. We were very fortunate, but some of our friends did.
Was the weather weathering?
Actually, we got so lucky. Other than it being muddy, there was only one time that it rained for like 5 minutes. I had my little raincoat and then it was over.
What sort of music?
That's funny because it was marketed as a country concert, but one of the bands was a Christian band. There was like a very like hard rock band. So, and like Hardy is a country artist, but he does some like rock. So it was a little bit of everything, I feel like.
Was Carl's Jr. there as well?
I don't get it.
You said Hardy?
Oh my.
Hardy? Anybody? Dame? You didn't even make a face?
I got it.
You didn't even make a face. What's wrong with you?
Sorry.
How many people were there, Kristen? Are you good at crowd estimation?
Well, I'm not, but I know because of Maggie's dad. So they had capacity for 20,000, but I think that they sold in just like a field, Pete, just like in open grass, just like free for all, 20,000 people. I think that they sold a little less than that in tickets. But it was pretty full.
Dame, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, that sounds like a great time, 1 being you'd rather have a root canal. Where are you at on that?
Probably like a 3.
Great. Well, to be fair, also, Kristen, I don't think she wants to sit at a swim meet or sit at a soccer match in Michigan. So,
I mean,
No.
certainly days that neither of us want to do that too.
So true. All right, everybody. This week on the show, kind of a fun little topic. We've actually talked about this idea before. All of us, by all of us, I mean the three of us, at various times have been asked for financial guidance, advice, whatever. We give it. The person indicates that they cannot do that. And so then they kind of hit us with, well, all right, what's the second best thing I can do? And then we're sort of forced to say, okay, well, here's my second best piece of advice. And so the entire show today is built around the idea of, okay, great, you can't do the idealistic personal finance thing. What should you really do? And I think that's sort of fun. Kristen, did I capture the idea that you had there?
Yeah, actually, I think that's really great. You did a great job.
What's wrong? Are you sick? Do you have a fever?
Yes, I am ill.
All right. Do you guys still actively get this? Like, I mean, are you actively on calls getting people going, what should I do? And you say it, and then they're like, but what else could I do?
No.
Usually that presents itself in the conversation, and you will say, well, eventually we would love for you to be able to do X, Y, and Z, but right now, I think this is a much more reasonable goal for you.
As a parent of teenagers, I have to feel like I do feel like I have this conversation with them all the time. What should I do? You should do this. I don't want to do that. What should I do? And then like it's a very common thing with them as well.
I actually think that it is even more than that, Dame. I feel like I find myself hedging against like the good medicine from the start. If I know enough about someone's financial life, where I don't even lead with, you should save 15% for retirement if I know they're not saving at all. Like, hello.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a great example. So where you may start from the second best piece of advice first and then walk into the ultimate goal without having to try and take their breath away and discourage them with the initial bit of advice and then put the second best piece in front of them. So yeah, I was actually going to ask you as if you ever just bypass the mainline advice and go right to something you feel is going to be more achievable for them, and maybe not even, or if you do mention the big advice, just do it in passing.
Great. Yeah. Well, that's the show today. We will get started here. soon as we get past the vacuum seal. Which, am I out of the vacuum seal, Kristen?
Yes.
All right. How about that for timing? In
He's-
3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show is supposed to work. You email us, askpete@petetheplanner.com. So you go to your computer, you open your email thing, and you type in askpete@petetheplanner.com. You put a witty subject line, and the subject line could literally be witty subject line. You ask a question, then we answer it here on this show, which is a radio show. It is a live streamed podcast and an audio podcast as well. Joined by Kristen Elanius, music enthusiast. Kristen, hello.
Hello.
And Damian Dunn, who has arms. Hello, Dame.
Hello.
Didn't say what type of arms. Okay. This week's show, Dame, Kristen, and I mean, collectively, we've been in this business for years, right? Between the three of us, I would think.
Yeah.
If someone asks us financial advice or like, hey, what should I do here? Right, like our job initially is to think, what is the ideal thing a person is to do? And we can share that information with them. First of all, the ideal thing is not always practical. And second of all, sometimes the person you give the ideal advice to is like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Or I can't do that. What should I do instead of that? So today's show is the second best piece of financial advice you can get for just about every scenario. Kristen, when you think about the concept of this, what is the category of personal finance advice? Like what topic do you get around? Is it retirement? Is it savings? Is it debt? Is it housing? What's the one that comes to mind first for you?
Oh my gosh, that's so biased because I've talked about this a couple of times here lately, is the idea of like estate planning or having a will.
Great. So that we're going to start there. I want to give a little bit of the thought around the hierarchy of this conversation. So there is the best thing to do around having an estate plan and having a will. Then there's the next best thing to do, which is the focus of the show today. But then there's the third piece of the hierarchy, which is doing absolutely nothing. And so what ends up happening is someone hears the best thing to do. They say, I can't do that. So then they do nothing. They skip the middle layer. And that's why we're doing the show today. So Dame, just to get a little bit of a consensus, would you agree that the will is one of the primary ones where a person goes, well, I can't afford a $1,700 attorney created will, so I'm not going to do anything, right? You would agree this is the thing.
Yeah, sure. Estate planning topics are always tough conversations because there's a natural reluctance to talk about it because you're talking about your own death. And then there's usually a lot of expense, or at least perceived expense, that comes along with it. So two fronts on why people want to avoid that topic.
All right, Kristen, is it as simple as you need an estate plan and someone says, I can't, or I don't want to? Like, how does the actual conversation go?
Yeah, that's a great question because I find as a practitioner, people tell me what I want to hear, which is like, yeah, I know, because they probably do. They probably know that they should be doing this, but I would actually add on to Dame's point is there's also financial knowledge. Do people know what beneficiaries are or what type of assets can transfer on death? Or like you have to have the financial knowledge. You have to know what you don't know as well. So I think what people tend to tell me is like, yeah, I know that that's important. And if I don't push, the conversation could end right there.
All right. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm making this up on the fly, as you might know. Yeah, I know. For each of the topics,
okay,
you guys are going to alternate giving advice, and I'm going to be the person that you're giving the advice to. It is a terrible idea. All right. Kristen, let's discover whether I have an estate plan or not. Go ahead. Have at me.
Okay. So you and I are already having a conversation, and I'll say, so Pete, when have you gone in and updated your beneficiaries lately?
I'm playing a role.
Oh.
That hurts. No, I haven't. I have my parents from when before I got married as my beneficiaries.
And do you know that for sure? Have you gone in and looked at that lately?
Actually, I don't know. That's the last thing I remember, but it was like 27 years ago.
Sure, that's totally fair. It's not something that's in front of you all the time. It's not, you're not pulling that up on your social media feeds for sure. Have you ever had a will drafted when maybe you had that beneficiary work done?
No, I don't. I've always thought about doing it, but I never really wanted to pay the money to do it. It's like $600. I had a friend do one for like $1,800, so I can't. I don't. It seems like too much, so I don't have one.
Yeah. Yeah, the investment's not small. It's not small financially, it's not small from a time perspective, but I think something that might be a really great approach for you and I is for me to be an accountability partner here for you. And maybe the next time we talk, let's just do an inventory of the accounts that you have and who those beneficiaries are.
Can I call a timeout here on my own thing? Kristen's so good at this. Like, I'm like, okay, now I'm thinking, I want to like tell her my real stuff and have her like do it.
I don't like to perform. I don't like this.
I know you don't, and I'm sorry. I like as it's happening, I'm like, oh gosh, I got to start typing an apology. But Dame, I think it's also illustrative of what you guys do every day.
Yeah.
Is this, and this is, I mean, this is not about our company, Your Money Line. The show is never about that. But that's why it's interesting, because that is an actual like important conversation. So Kristen, where does it typically, we'll go out of character, where does it typically go from there of like, what do you want the person to do? Because they've just said, they being me, they're not going to spend the money on doing this.
Yeah, if they're not going to spend the money, the thing that I need them to do is at least have a couple conversations and update what is the like lowest hanging fruit in terms of getting the money where it needs to go if they die. Beneficiaries, transfer on death, tell the people in your life, if you have kids, for goodness sake, like tell the people that you want to be guardians of your children that that's what you would want them to do. Those things are all free. They're not emotionally easy, but the amount of time invested is relatively small.
Dame, I think I love all of those. I think people forget that those solve a lot of problems, the ones you just gave. Dame, I think the trickiest one there is if you have kids, tell the people in your life that you want them to take care of the kids, but then you also have to tell everyone else in your life who you've chosen to take care of the kids. And then that actually is where it starts to break down a little bit.
Yeah, but you're going to have that conversation anyway, eventually, whether it's a will included or not. If you're going to designate guardians for your kids, you're going to put that, you're going to reduce that into a legal document, and then one set of in-laws is going to, why didn't I get that, or one sister or one brother or whatever. It's one of those conversations that's really just good to rip the Band-Aid off and have the conversation.
Kristen, I'm going to get out over my skis here for a second. If you are a single person with no kids and not a ton of assets, not having estate plans or a will isn't the largest risk in the world. You should have one, but if you're married or divorced and you got kids and there's in-laws all over the place, maybe some step in-laws, you got all sorts of things going on, ex-in-laws, and that alone should say, yeah, you might want to have something on paper.
For sure. And at the very least, starting to have some of those conversations too, because the worst thing is that then if something happens to you, people are having those conversations that you don't get to participate in. It's uncomfortable to not participate in them, but worse if they have to decide without your input.
Dame, your choice coming up after the break. What topic are you choosing to take the people through what the ideal advice is, but then the second best piece of advice? What's it going to be? What's your choice?
Let's do preparing for retirement.
Preparing for retirement is next. The second best piece of advice that exists on the second best financial show you'll listen to today. Maybe. It's right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. This portion of the program is brought to you by NeighborServe. So there was a ton of weather going through central Indiana over the last couple of weeks. It knocked down some trees. It knocked off some shingles. It flooded some things. And the reality is there are contractors flying all over this great city Some of them are fresh, some of them are new, and some of them you've never heard of, and they have ill things conceived in their brain. That is why I do not waste time trying to figure out who to trust other than the home concierge service from NeighborServe. I've been using it for a couple years. The peace of mind of knowing who to trust is really important. And so that's why I call on my friends at NeighborServe. If I say, hey, I got a roof issue, they send me to a roof company that they trust and they have used and they have vetted and that they help problem solve if things go wonky. So for a free month of this, just so you can see what I'm talking about, please go to neighborserve.com/Pete. As I've told you in the past, I only like to endorse things that I actually use. This is important to me, and NeighborServe is as well. So neighborserve.com/Pete for 1 free month of home concierge. NeighborServe. Go there. I didn't know what to say after that, guys. All right. Oh, I switched it around. You guys are, it's like a Gladys Knight and the Pips now. You guys you're the Pips. You got smaller boxes. And I've got the bigger box. Should we switch Kristen into the bigger box?
Yeah, sure. I hadn't thought about how valuable NeighborServe would be at this point for your neck of the woods. I mean, that could just be a huge benefit, not having to worry about finding contractors and trusting them and all. I mean, I think that would be money well spent for the right folks right now.
If you go to any of the local news website right now, whether it be the TV stations or what used to be a really good newspaper, and the second article is how to not get scammed by home repair and lugging away junk people. And it's like, that's some scary stuff. Hey guys, I used to be a personal finance expert. I don't know if either of you have clocked that. Last night, Kristen, do you like that hand sign?
Loved that.
Okay, so I last night sat down with my daughter and she was doing college applications, and there was a financial section that we had to fill out. And so, as I told you before the show, I made the choice of, instead of like privately filling it out and like, okay, this section's ready, but I was like, all right, just ask me the questions and I'll give you the answers. So that was a choice. And I'm glad I did it. I want her to understand how some of these things work. The second thing, though, guys, the questions are so confusing. Are so confusing. And now I don't want to, I actually want to bring it. Maybe next week I'll ask them of you guys to see if you're confused.
Okay.
Because if 3 theoretically top experts in the world on money don't understand the questions, how is Joe Schmo supposed to?
I love this idea.
It's been a complaint for a long time, especially in regards to the FAFSA. They've overhauled it quite a bit, but it's way more convoluted than it probably should be.
It is. And there's one question. I wish I had it. There's one question that it's like, do you have this, or this? And the this, and this are so different that they're not even, it's like, do you have a mutual fund, a stock, or a bond? It's like, do you make retirement plan contributions, have health insurance, or make tax payments? And then it was like, what is your annual tax payment was a question. Dame, how would you answer? How would you think through what is your annual tax payment? Do you think what I pay in taxes or what I have to pay in quarterly tax payments?
I would look at that as what the 1040 says, the tax due, not necessarily what I've been paying in over the course of the year. So I would have reverted to the 1040.
I answered it as what the quarterly tax payments were.
I think you were wrong.
Well, that's fine. No, but I'm saying it's so confusing. There's no hover over anything. I'll say this, where it was a particular like aid calculator for a particular university or whatever, or college. The sticker price, the sticker price was $98,000 a year. And so she starts this process. I was like, sweetie baby, I didn't say. It's like, hey, you do realize that I can't even begin to afford that, and so it's probably not going to be a great option for you. So let's see what we qualify for in aid, because you assume somewhere that's that big is have a
Yeah.
pretty generous
Sure.
aid program. We qualified for 0
Oh.
need-based aid, but I may have answered all the questions wrong too.
Hmm.
$98,000 a year.
I'm sure that's the highest quality of education that your dollar could buy too.
And then it was at that point I just said, hey, I know we've talked about this here recently. This is how much mom and I have for college. And I gave her the dollar amount. And I said, so your price tag for all 4 years has got to be like in this range. Beyond that, I'm just saying, like, I can't do anything. I'm good.
How
It's
was that
weird.
received?
Fine. Like, what's really weird, guys, is, and your guys are in the same spot. You've given a style of that advice for years and years and years that's what you're supposed to do. And it was such an informal moment. Like, I literally have written about this. I've talked about this on freaking every platform ever. And then it's in the moment. I'm just sitting in her bedroom last night. And I was like, oh, by the way, this is how much we have. And I wouldn't spend any more than that because I can't help. Can't help. And it was just like over, and I left her room, and I was like, boy, that was not the way I thought it would go. Oh, Dame, you're a year away from this. So at least let's get some of those questions out next week.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It'd be instructive for me. It'll be great.
Well, maybe you guys can tell me how to answer them. I also am like, I want to be honest in the questions. Like I truly do, but I also, some of them are so vague that they sort of ask for vague answers. So I don't know. Anywho, good times.
Kristen, does anybody audit FAFSA results or FAFSA answers?
It's a really great question. I mean, I think technically it's possible, but who's doing that?
Right. I'm sure it's possible, but I mean,
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
And it's with that. We go back to the show in 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show, oftentimes you seek what you should do financially. And then hear the right thing to do, the objectively perfect thing to do. And then you make the judgment, I don't want to do that. I can't do that. That is impossible. And so you either do nothing, or you're smart enough to say, okay, I can't do that, but what should I do instead? And this show is dedicated to that idea. Maybe you can't do the perfect thing, but we don't want you to do nothing. So we're going to give this the second best piece of advice. That's what the show is today. The second best piece of advice in the first segment. Kristen talked about how if a person needs a will or an estate plan and they just can't do it or won't do it, there are things like making sure your beneficiaries are up to date or doing transfer on deaths, or at least having conversations with the people that might take care of your minor children. And now Dame is here to talk about what the best piece of advice is for retirement planning, and then what to do if you can't do that. So Dame, what is the best piece of advice for retirement planning?
And I want to make sure we draw a line between retirement planning and what the specific topic of this is, which is saving enough to prepare for retirement in this case. Where we always direct people, somewhere between 12 and 15% of your income should be saved towards preparing for retirement. That is inclusive of your employer match that you're receiving. If you're able to do more than that, it will probably behoove you to do more than that, because your income probably will require you to do that in order to have the sort of retirement that you're envisioning. But 12 to 15% is a lot for a lot of people, and it's not an always achievable target, especially right off the jump. So we have to figure out what a more realistic option is, and then how to eventually get there.
Kristen, I was excited for this specific subtopic today because it's so quantitative, and you're either on track or you're off track. And if you're off track and then you try to tiptoe back on track, time is still passing and you aren't necessarily any closer to being on track. And so I get it. I get the point of the show, but do you feel that? I mean, You feel that way about this one because once you're not putting in the right percentage, it actually gets worse. It doesn't stay the same.
Oh, that hurts. I don't know. This topic more than any other, you're right, is like pass fail. Like you're on track or you're off track for retirement. But I think the key is, in my opinion, the psychological barriers to separating yourself from your dollar for potentially decades is one of the biggest hurdles to get over. And I find as a practitioner, after that, it gets a whole lot easier. If you're someone who's never saved for retirement before, the idea of saying, okay, now Pete, you don't get to touch this money until you're 60 and you're 20 years old. Are you kidding me? Like, this 20-year-old can't be relied on to leave $20 in their savings account, much less 1% of their income in a 401k for 40 years. So I think once we get past that hurdle, a lot of the psychological or behavioral elements get a lot easier.
Well, that's encouraging. Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you for saying that, because I took us down a dark hole and you lit a candle or something. Dame, what do I do? Because I'm not going to put away 15%. Oh, I've got to make you role play too. Yeah, but I can't do that, Damien.
Totally understand. That is a big number, especially with the phase of life that you're in right now. So what I want to try and do is make sure that you understand that you need to be at least getting your employer match if at all possible. And then in this case, that's going to be about 4% of your income. So we're already going back from 12 to 15% down to 4. Now, does 4 seem a little bit more reasonable for you?
I could probably make 4 work.
Okay.
I definitely don't think I can make 12 work. I could
Totally
do
get it.
4.
Yeah, and the good news is you've done a really good job with things outside of this particular area. You don't have a lot of other debt outside of this. You've got room in your budget so that each year as we go along, you're going to have the opportunity to increase that contribution as you go. It might take a few years, maybe a couple of years, you do a little bit more than you do in some other years. But if you can commit to doing like maybe 1% a year to eventually get you up to that 12 to 15% range, it's going to make it a lot easier for you in retirement. The sooner you can get there, the better.
I think I can do that.
Excellent. Let me show you how to click through your HR portal and make that happen.
Kristen, was I
What?
too easy on him?
Yeah.
That was the guy code. Like, I was like, yeah, bro, we got this. Typically, okay, Kristen. So again, you guys have this conversation all the time.
Yeah.
What Dame said is the way we would handle that. Like, what do you usually hear instead of, yeah, bro?
That's interesting because I do find that like free money employer match is often a point of compromise between me as the practitioner and the person I'm talking to. Is like, well, here's your free money. And it's like we're dangling the carrot. And that's something that you can often get people to say that they're going to do.
Yeah.
Do they always do it right away? I don't know.
And if you take the tact that this is part of your compensation, this was factored in when they made you that offer. And if you don't take it, you're leaving it on the table. You're not getting the full value of what they planned on paying you. And if you can frame it in a way that somebody's not getting what they were promised to be paid, sometimes that can move the needle as well.
All right, it's only fair that I do one of these. Which one of you wants to grill me?
I don't want to because I didn't want to participate on the other side either.
All right. I want emergency fund.
Okay.
All right. So what's your name going to be?
Pete.
What is it?
Pete.
Pete. Now I'm confused. Be Ricky. I like be Ricky. I always like
Ricky.
The name Ricky.
Okay.
Ricky, how much of an emergency fund do you have right now?
Well, it was a little bit more, but I had a flat tire and I had to replace the tire. And so now it's down to like $250.
Yeah. $250. Definitely can get you out of a couple jams. I mean, even if you had another flat tire, at least you could handle that one too. Now, in a perfect world, we take your monthly income and we multiply that by 3 or 6, meaning that in a perfect world, your emergency fund's got 3 to 6. Oh my Lord, 3 to 6 with an I months worth of money in it. But Ricky, something tells me that doesn't feel great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be tough. I've got a bunch of stuff going on. I mean, you're telling me that 3 to 6 months worth of income's gonna go towards just sitting there. My fiance thinks 3 to 6 months should be on her finger. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna share money between those 2 goals right now.
Well, Crystal does like her jewelry. When's the last time you had $1,000 in your account, Ricky?
It wasn't in my account. It was in my pocket after that trip to Vegas where I got really lucky.
Why is Dame so good at this? like, what are you catfishing people on the internet like at work? Because this is so
No,
good.
it's because
No,
this
I've
is how Dame and I interview prospective employees for
Yeah.
YML.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, forgot it.
This
Okay,
is the
sorry.
mock call, man.
Okay, so I'm back to it. I'm distracted. Do you how long do you think it would take you to get to $1,000, Dave? Ricky?
That's a great question. I could probably do it in 10, 12 months.
Okay, let's start there. Let's get you $1,000. It can handle a few different flat tires. Even if Crystal leaves you and you've got to get a dating website membership, not to put that in your head, but it happens a lot, Ricky. I mean, she could be gone out the door, and with the flat tires that you're susceptible to, you might not even be able to catch up with her.
Have you heard something?
Well, I know something. Anyway, and scene. All right. That was a good time. Oh, that was fun. Kristen, now I know why you hated doing that, because I was like a third of the way through. I was like, I want out of this dumb vortex.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Coming up after the break, we got another one. What's the next one going to be? Credit cards or budgeting? We'll do that next. The second best piece of advice a person can have right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. Turnabout's fair play. You know what's exciting, guys, is that we are getting a new upstairs neighbor here at Your Moneyline World headquarters. And today, the construction men are hammering, and it is loud.
We can't hear anything. At least I don't think I can hear anything. Kristen, you hear anything?
Nah.
No, of course not.
Well, who knows what'll go up there. Next door, we got a baby chiropractor right through that wall. You can hear the babies screaming. But upstairs, what could it be? Kristen, I don't know why I'm directing this question at you, so you can just send it to Dame. I got to choose somebody, and this is important.
Okay.
I was in southern-ish Indiana yesterday, and I had some time to kill, so I did some things. But one thing is, I found myself driving through the parking lot of a strip mall on the way to go get a bottle of water somewhere. And in said strip mall, there were 3 different vape shops.
Oh, okay.
In one strip mall, 3 competitors in the vape world. I know next to nothing about vape, and I assume you. I don't know what you know, but just a question that I can bounce off of someone. What sort of competitive differences is a person expecting to see with that variety of vape shops? Like what would one have that the others wouldn't have, and how is one to decide which vape shop to go to?
That's an excellent question. And I genuinely do not know what the competitive advantage would be between what seems to be the same business to me.
So Dame, I really know close next to nothing about vaping. Here's what I understand is involved. There's a rig, like a device. I don't know. Sometimes they're big though. I mean, sometimes they're massive. They look like a little, like a French horn, and you put your hand in it, you suck in cancer. And then there's cartridges that is like cherry flavored cancer or whatever. Do you understand that those are the elements of vaping? There's the clarinet, and then there's the juice.
Yeah, it comes in the little cartridges that is the delivery, right?
Oh, here we go.
Isn't it? I don't.
Yes, I think that is true, but there's different like levels of nicotine and different flavors, and I think you can really like dial in your preferences.
So nicotine's like a big, I would say almost say a performance enhancer these days. It's viewed by some of like, what are they called, Zens or something, and
Mhm.
like people use them for the same way they would use caffeine
Mhm.
in some sense. And it's not even about inhaling the carcinogens from tobacco. It is literally about the nicotine and the stimulant itself, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Mhm.
So you think vaping is as much about that, or I don't understand, Kristen? What am I missing? I'm missing something here that someone's not sharing with me.
I don't think so. I think my perception of it is that every generation has like their bad thing that's cool. And I think that I I believe it is true that a younger generation isn't drinking as much, but I
Hmm.
think they vape more. And I actually feel like I have heard that cigarettes are coming back.
Dame, anything to add to this really important conversation about vaping?
I'm just trying to think what our generation's bad thing was. Was it
I think we had a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few, but was there a number one?
I would go. This is a good question. Drinking and
Yeah, I
probably
think that was
smoking was falling off, right?
yeah, I think that's probably drinking was first.
Rick Swank late to the party.
I just had a thought, Pete. What if your new upstairs neighbor is like a custom carpentry shop and you just gonna have banging all the time?
That's just who they are. They're not doing
Yeah.
construction. They are the construction.
That's really funny. I'm gonna take cookies up there. All right, here we go.
Should we do a speed round on some of these?
Don't make me like be the practitioner again, please.
Noted. But you are doing the close of the show today.
No. Stop. I've had enough for today.
In 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show, talking about the second best piece of financial advice you can get in any particular category. The reality is, most financial advice is do this, and then people go, I can't. And then so they do nothing, and things get worse. Today, we're saying, we hear you, we get it, but at least do this. So we've talked so far about retirement, talked about emergency funds, and of course, we started with Kristen's really great take on estate planning. Now we move on to the speed round: credit cards, budgeting, and buying a house. Kristen, I'll let you choose. Which one do you want to speed through?
Let's do budgeting.
All right. Kristen, you should budget.
Do I have to role play again?
No, I mean, no, do whatever you want. I mean, you are a radio star. By the way, it was suggested to us this week that Dame should have his own television show.
That is
Nobody wants
true.
to see that. Literally
That did
nobody wants to
happen.
see that.
And a
A
book.
person did.
One
And a
person
book.
wants to see that.
Everyone's been asking.
Gosh. Kristen, so a person like, I don't want a budget. I don't want 1,000
Yeah.
different categories. What do you
Perfect.
do?
You don't have to. My default in these situations is, look, Pete, you know what your like bad category is, where you're spending more than you should. If you actually tallied it up, you'd probably be upset. Just start there. Just start by actually paying attention to that category, know how much you're actually spending, and set a reasonable amount that you want to pull that back. 10% is a really great rule of thumb, but you don't have to tackle the whole budget and make a giant spreadsheet. Just like have Amazon show up less or whatever.
Yes, and I will often get people to understand that. Do you have a rent or mortgage payment? I bet you know what that one is, probably to the dollar. Got a car payment? Probably know what that one is too. You've already accounted for a huge chunk of your income in the budgeting process. You're already like halfway there, probably in some cases. So let's find that one or two other things that you need to pay attention to, and let's just start there. Let's not make this overwhelming. Let's just focus in on something that's manageable. And if we want to add categories in the future, fantastic.
You guys, I'm like a proud papa here. This
Well,
is
you
so
didn't teach it
good.
to us.
I was just going to say, he taught us everything we know.
But you also have to remember this papa is an old man who forgets everything. So I forgot I knew this. This is so good. Kristen, let's start with yours. Like, yeah, just like dining out or
Right.
the liquor store, whatever it is, just know that number and like have a post-it note on your dashboard of your car and just update. It doesn't really matter. On your phone, have a note and just, it is the easiest, lowest hanging fruit.
100%. And once you start to know the number, I feel like it's the same way with retirement contributions, like how I had mentioned, is like once you rip off the Band-Aid and know that you spent $600 last month dining out, it gets easier after that. That initial scare is what's hard.
And Dame, the idea that like you already know a lot of these numbers, you're just dismissing the fact that you know them. And then that like you think of a pie, a budgeting pie. You've already got some of them already filled in. Just fill in a few more.
Yeah.
Gosh. All right, it's the speed round. That's budgeting. That's how to fix that one. Dame, you're up next. What do you want?
Let's do credit cards.
Credit cards. All right. Hey, you should never carry revolving high interest rate debt. Okay.
In this economy.
Yes.
Yeah.
In this economy, yes.
And so you need to pay it off aggressively.
Am I fighting against you on this one?
I don't know. I'm just using words.
Yeah, no, I think that is best practice. Unfortunately, life happens to us financially from time to time, and it feels like that is impossible to be able to do that. So what's the next best thing? Well, there's a couple different things you do. Stop adding to the balance. If spending on credit cards is one of the issues that you've got, find a way to break the dependence on the credit card for normal spending. Don't add to it. Make sure that you're giving yourself a chance to decrease that balance from month to month rather than playing a game of statement roulette and not being sure about what's going to come back to you at the end of that month.
Can we, I need a hard time out here because such an important point that people blow past. The premise of the show is here's the best thing to do. And then people say, I don't want to do that. So then they do nothing. This is the perfect example. I have out of control credit card debt. I can't do anything about it. Therefore, I'm actually going to make it worse. I'm going to keep spending on that. Dame, that commitment to say, Dave Ramsey always would say, just put the credit card in the drawer, right?
Right.
Which I kind of buy that one, right? This is harder said than done.
Totally.
Yes.
Or wait, easier said than done. How does that work? Easier said than done. It's harder
tough.
than it sounds.
Yeah.
We agreed with you and you were wrong.
Yeah.
You guys, I want to say, you guys, as everyone knows, men are smarter, right, Kristen?
Obviously.
Yeah. But Dane's a really good point because some people like they're working against themselves on this one.
It happens all the time. We have these conversations more frequently than we care to think about, where somebody might make a really good progress one month and then we talk to them the next month and well, it was just inevitable that they were going to have to put money onto it. So they did. And it's like, gosh, you know what? We're really going to struggle trying to get you some traction if we can't make a couple changes or at least get you to buy into trying to change one part of how you spend money.
Yeah. And I think that that's where people have this perception that they're good at accounting for their money mentally. And I don't know about you, Dane, but I'll hear a lot like, well, my balance went up because I had to pay insert necessity here. And it's like, right, on the credit card, but in your checking account, you had $400 of spending that you didn't have to make. So that is where I kind of do buy, you got to put all your spending in one place because otherwise you are not accounting for all of it. Your brain's not as good as we want it to be at keeping track of all of your purchases.
And even that trick, even that trick that we like to say, oh, we'll just pay your credit card off more frequently. Like instead of paying it once a month, pay it once every 2 weeks or once a week or every couple days after you make it. Even then, stuff slips through and you're going to start double dipping here and there. So if this is an issue that you face, there's probably going to have to be some behavioral changes on how you actually spend that cash in order to put a stop to an increasing amount on that credit card and then try and get it to go down.
Maybe the listener views this differently. But my takeaway from this episode so far is how good you two are. This is great. I'm so excited. All right, buying a house. This is a dangerous one. So the old thing is, hey, if you're going to buy a house, you need 20% down payment. That's hard. That's a pretty difficult thing for a lot of people. And so like I did when I bought my first house, I put it down less. I think I did a 90-10-10, right? I put down 10%, a 90% mortgage and a 10% second mortgage. Actually worked. Loan types are different today, but the real issue here, guys, is when someone's going to have an alternative structure to a loan or a mortgage, then you got to do something a little bit different. You actually got to buy less house. Like you can't go, I'm going to buy the house I want as though I had 20%. I don't have 20%, yet I'm going to take the risks that would be mitigated with that level of down payment. So therefore, what people don't realize is when you put less of a down payment down and you buy the same level of house that you would have bought with a 20% down payment, your risks increase significantly. No one ever views that. No one ever views that the down payment is risk mitigation, but it is in fact risk mitigation. You are putting yourself in a much worse spot, so you have to buy less house. What would you guys add to that?
Yes, and just eliminate all of the instances where you're going to see something that's outside of that higher risk level. Like remove those houses from your Zillow or your realtor.com or your, like wherever you're looking. Don't show yourself what you aspire to be able to afford. Just remove that from the picture from the start.
Dame?
I don't disagree. I think we need to make sure that we are reaching for what is reasonable. And I mean, gosh, housing is tough because there's just so much emotion that goes into it. You see stuff that, I envision my family here. Well, that's great, but you can't be there right now because you can't afford it. So let's try and find something else. So make sure you understand where those dollars are going and what committing those dollars does to your other financial goals before you jump into it.
Excellent. Well, next time you are trying to figure out what to do in a major area of your financial life and you learn what to do and you say to yourself, I can't do that, instead of doing nothing, look for the second best answer. And that's what today's show has been. Coming up after the break, the biggest waste of money of the week in the news, right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. Do you guys want to do a show in the coming weeks? No could be an answer here. On the big wealth transfer. There's a lot of talk about trillions of dollars of wealth are going to be transferred down generations here in the next 10 to 15 years. And I find it such to be a vague idea. It's so conceptual. I can't even get my head around it. I would love to somehow put parameters around it and have people understand what exactly does that mean and what's the impact. Does that mean real estate prices get better or worse? Does it mean that financial stability improves or declines in America? Like, what does it mean? Is that interesting to you, or do I need to flesh it out a little bit more?
I'd like to hear a little bit more, but I mean, there's another angle to that. It's going to change genders too. A lot of this money is going to end up in female hands, in women's hands, and it's not right now. And so the typical financial advisor relationship might look a lot different in the next 15, 20 years. I think you're going to see a lot of women enter the financial advising field because women have resources, or will have significantly more resources in the next 10 to 15 years, 20 years, and they want to talk to somebody that they feel understands them more than an old, well, I'll stop.
Interesting. Kristen, any thoughts there?
It's interesting because I was, as you were talking, thinking through the lens of how do we in good faith help the recipients not do the right things, right? Like if you're not someone who's ever had assets to manage and you wake up one day after grief and then have assets to manage, that's crazy.
That's a really good one too. Okay. Guys, a little planning. This is how the show works. This is usually a Slack conversation.
Yes.
Where Pete goes, what you got?
Yeah. What ideas do you have this week, guys?
I don't always do that. Just always. Okay. You guys want to hit the biggest waste of money of the week in the news?
Sure.
Yeah.
Great. Post show.
Mm-hmm.
Please remind me I got a question from a person in person yesterday. It's
Okay.
not a show thing,
Oh.
but it's a post show thing. Too soon to be a show thing, but I'll let me know.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week, right here on the Pete the Planner Show, is the Ciatron RM1 transparent CD player. A dual layer acrylic frame held together by metal corner pillars leaves the RM1's spinning disc and electronics fully exposed during playback, turning the hardware itself into an art piece. Detachable legs let it stand on a desk, and a rear mounting slot lets it hang flat on a wall like a picture frame. A warm yellow 12 by 8 LED matrix ticks off track numbers and volume as it plays. It still functions like a normal CD player, reading CDs and MP3s, with anti-shock buffering that holds 40 seconds for audio CDs and 120 seconds for MP3. So wall-mounted knocks don't skip the track. So kids, this is on Kickstarter. This is a brand new product in the year 2026 that someone came up with that in 1996 I would have said, oh, interesting. But in 2026, who's buying this? Dame, Kristen, how much is this, Kristen?
First of all, me. I'm obsessed. I think this is so cool.
What? I can't. Okay, time out. Someone yesterday was talking about this podcast to me, and they're like, I just love Kristen. She just has such unique ideas. This is what you like, ma'am. This is what you like.
This is so cool. I love this. We have so many CDs in our house. This would be so fun. If it's less, wait, I'm not familiar with Kickstarter. This is what they're hoping it'll cost.
You're not familiar
Right?
with Kickstarter.
Like, I'm not familiar with how the pricing works. Like, they sell them in advance, and this is the price they're saying they're going to charge. Because if it's less than $250, I am in.
You can commit to buying one so they can get manufacturing off the ground. So I'll just say this. The goal for this company was to raise $3,000. And they have raised $327,000.
Well, yeah,
So
because
this
it's
project got
cool.
greenlit. All right, Kristen, how much does it cost? You say $250?
If it's less than that, I'm buying it, but I'm hoping it's less than that. $150.
Dame?
I mean, a CD player is what, like $10? I mean, maybe virtually,
They
but
don't make them anymore.
there's almost nothing in parts here. And if they 10x that, what do you say, Kristen? 150?
Yeah.
I mean, there's the art component. I'm just gonna say $100.
$89, but I'll tell you this.
A steal.
She's getting
Kristen,
one for
I'll
every
send you the
room.
link if you want.
Yeah.
Gosh, it just I know people like nostalgia. The kids are all going to Pizza Hut these days. But like, it's crazy. Dame, what is in the news this week?
Nobody buys stuff off of the biggest waste of money of the week. I mean, that's
You do.
Yeah, it's, right
Oh, wait,
there.
hold on. I got to go full screen on that. There it is.
Right there.
What is that? Dinosaur bottle
Cat
opener?
bottle opener. Yeah.
Dame, news.
Anyway, healthcare taking a bigger bite out of American workers' paychecks. Employees with workplace health insurance are expected to spend an average of about $5,300 this year. That includes their share of premiums, deductibles, co-pays, and other out-of-pocket costs. That's nearly $400 more than last year. And 2027 could be worse. One benefit survey found employers expect their healthcare costs to jump by this much percent next year, Pete. This much percent.
I mean, it's it's not a round number, about 16%.
Kristen?
The under. I was thinking 9.
11.1% next year, which would be the biggest increase in more than 2 decades. Another projection from Aon says it's closer to 9.5. So we'll give Kristen the win on that one. What's driving it? What could possibly be driving higher costs? More expensive medical care, greater use of healthcare services, and costly prescription drugs like GLP-1s.
Wait, costs are going up because of GLP-1s?
Yep.
Please.
GLP-1. What?
Costly prescriptions. They just threw GLP-1 in there because
Exactly.
everybody's taking GLP-1s.
I mean, at one point it flips over though, and then the diseases we're treating theoretically are not as expensive to treat because not as many people have them.
Then we just have the diseases caused by the medications we're taking for.
Look, that
This is for information
Yes.
purposes only. Not the Swiss financial planning device. Consult a financial advisor.
what else is in the news?
Speaking of healthcare, Costco already sells you groceries, gas, vacations, and hearing aids. Now it wants to sell you Medicare coverage. Have you seen this?
Deal.
The warehouse giant is partnering with nonprofit insurer Scan Group to launch Costco branded Medicare plans. The initial rollout would include Medicare Advantage plans in 2 states and a Medicare supplement in the 3rd. The plans are expected to connect with services Costco already offers, including prescriptions, vision, hearing, and some over-the-counter benefits. The first markets would include roughly 5 million Medicare enrollees, although Costco hasn't said yet which states are involved. The plan still needs federal approval. Would you buy
No-brainer.
healthcare? Would you
Yeah.
buy Medicare coverage from Costco?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you?
I'm a Sam's Club guy, not a Costco, so no.
You are a Sam's Club guy?
They were the original one in our neighborhood, and when Costco came in, we just didn't break off and go over there.
Kristen, are you a warehouse club person?
I have a Sam's Club membership, but I feel like everyone prefers Costco.
It's the same thing. I feel like we love it, but it's literally right across the street from Mrs. Advice's office.
What else is in the news?
A team of construction workers in Belgium stumbled upon a golden opportunity last week while converting the site of an old brewery into a homeless shelter. While installing new sewage pipes, they discovered a hidden stash of Victorian-era gold bars and coins worth around $10 million in a cellar wall. That is the kind of paywall I can get behind. It's unclear who's going to get the gold. Descendants of the family known to have lived on the property could be entitled to it, or someone else could claim it if they can prove they're the rightful owner. But if that doesn't happen within the next 5 years, it'll be split between the finder, which is the builders, and the property's owner, the charity, which is putting up the homeless shelter, according to the BBC. Either way, there's worse crap you could find installing sewer pipes.
Okay, Dame, I just want to acknowledge both of your bad jokes there. The first one, the paywall is terrible. That's a terrible joke. I also want to say, like, what my first thing going through my head is like, well, that brewery is going back in business. The homeless shelter's out, but the homeless shelter owns the building. So
Yeah. the charity
Why on earth would it not be the property of the person who owns the building?
that seems fair.
British law. Take it up with
The king.
Yeah.
Meghan and Harry are going back to England. Kristen, are the royals in your wheelhouse of things?
No.
Gosh, it's hard to know what Kristen cares about.
I don't.
Do you care about like Real Housewives of St. Louis or something? Do you care about that stuff?
I've watched
yes.
Mormon Wives.
There you go. Yes, you're in there, but you're just not into the royals.
Yeah, correct.
Damn, I don't have to ask you.
no.
Give a quick
He's a
one
big
to.
fan.
Yeah, sure. $366 billion. That's the record-shattering amount of venture capital that California companies have drawn since the start of 2026. It's more than all other 49 states combined.
What is it? Just going all into AI companies?
Yep.
Wow.
All right. Well, we did this. Thanks for joining us on the show. The next time you seek a really great piece of financial advice and then you get it and you're like, nah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm just going to keep eating white bread and full fat mayo and bacon and tainted lettuce and Indiana tomatoes. Anyway, go for the second piece of advice, which is I can't maybe do the best, but I can do a little bit instead of doing nothing. That's what this show's about. If you missed any of it, go to wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the Pete the Planner Show. Sending you good vibes because good vibes are all this in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the Pete the Planner Show. Oh, you guys ready for your story? Story time.
You're going to have to end the show first.
I know. It is.
Okay.
Oh, hey, everybody. So glad you're here. Whew. Friends, neighbors, countrymen, stay getting money.